Naomi, how did you find Carnivore?
Same as everybody else is what I'm hearing. You just start trying to figure out how to learn to do things yourself on YouTube, and you start figuring stuff out. I've always been fit and into nutrition and exercise, and I it's been a year since I've talked to you, so I've been trying to figure out why what I used to do wasn't working for me. And yeah, it probably is because of what we know. My insulin resistance was high, and the same thing isn't going to work when you get to a certain age. And all those things are true. And then I think back, and it might also be because of all the things we went through during COVID. All the things. If you've gotten COVID, it affects your body. If you got the immunization, whatever, it could be anything. We'll never know. So it wasn't working, and I was getting sicker and sicker. And I learned about carnivore from Dr. Barry, and then heard all the people that you were interviewing, and I loved the older people's stories, how they've changed their health, which doctors could say is impossible without medication or at all. And I was on board and never turned back. It's been great. And I think I did tell you I got a new kitty. I got a new kitty, so I love her. She's everywhere. And she's a carnivore. But I think I emailed you that I got my calcium artery score because my cholesterol was a little high this last year when I got blood work done, the random blood work that we get at work all the time. And I had high cholesterol. And so I feel fine. I feel great. Everything else looks great. All my numbers are great. So I'm just going to go get a calcium score. And I came back with a 0. And so I'm really happy about that. And last time we talked about how my boyfriend is a pilot. We're always concerned about his heart, and he does have to go to the doctor every year for checkups and blood work, and FAA requires all of that. Well, I was telling him, it was about, I don't know, 6 months ago, telling him that I wanted a calcium score, and he had no idea what I was talking about, and he has to go to the doctor all the time, and he'd never heard of that. And so he probably thought I was a little crazy and getting crazier and crazier through this carnivore diet. And he came home from his checkup, and the doctor asked him to get a calcium score. So now I believe they're not requiring it, but they're certainly highly suggesting that pilots get their calcium score. They're not going to rely on their numbers anymore, as I guess as much as they used to, because now this is becoming more mainstream, I believe, especially for the younger people I'm starting to see. But anyway, so he got his calcium score with me, and he is 57 and he has a 0. So we are really, really happy about that.
So is he's doing Carnivore with you?
Yes, yes. He only has 1 or 2 meals a day, and it is carnivore. He does, when he's traveling, he does tend to go out with the guys and have whatever he wants. But he eats what I eat when we're home, for sure. And
Oh,
we're
awesome.
really, really happy about that. And we're also
Mhm.
happy that that's part of the, it's not, like I said, not a requirement, but a suggestion for pilots, so that if they do have, I mean, if a pilot has high cholesterol, are they going to take them off the job? I mean, you could be perfectly healthy. So they are taking this into account right now. And I think that's wonderful. I just love that for him. So that's been a huge thing for us. Um, Also, one of my coworkers, he's in his 20s, and he just randomly asked me why I put butter in my coffee, and he goes, "Are you carnivore?" And I'm like, "Yeah, actually." And he goes, "I'm going to start carnivore in 2 weeks," and it was right after Christmas. And I go, "Are you really?" Yeah. And so he described when he'd eat bacon, he'd get goosebumps all over, and he just feels like he is doing much better than ever. And he's in his 20s, and he and his wife are wanting to have babies, and they're trying to get healthy, and nothing wrong. He's so young. I say, wow, how lucky are you? You're in your 20s, and you have your whole future ahead of you. You don't have to go through all the things that I did. If you jump on the
Mm.
carnivore wagon, it was just wonderful to hear that. So
That's
yeah,
fantastic. And,
it is.
it's always it's cool to get the question, "Are you carnivore?" rather than, "Why are you putting butter in your coffee? That's weird," right? Because it's like,
Yes, it
"Oh,
was really.
we can get into the conversation straight away without all the backstory." Awesome.
It was shocking, yeah, and of course we're overheard, so there were a bunch of people that just asked a question or two and then walked away. But I had a friend, friend of a friend, come to dinner with us and was just shocked at as to what I eat. And I usually just go to the beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. That's what I eat: beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, and animal products if you want to have something fun, like cream cheese. And I make my ice cream, so they're like, well, how do you get your vitamins without eating vegetables? And it's so hard to get in that conversation. I'm like, it's everything you need. I know it's surprising, but it's everything you need. And so, which has been quite a journey for me, because then once you realize everything's working out great and everything you've been told is a lie, you want to know, what else am I being lied about? That's when things get fun. And so I think I talked about it last time too, the history of the medical history of anything is fascinating to me. If someone asks me, why are you doing this, or how'd you find out about this, you can go into a lot of different avenues. I mean, from anywhere. But my favorite one is, do you know what a Salisbury steak is? Do you know who Dr. Salisbury is? He saved thousands of lives in the Civil War. The people in the Civil War were dying of dysentery more than they were bullets. And Dr. Salisbury suggested that's the carnivore diet. He fed all the troops the carnivore diet: minced meat and warm water, and saved thousands of lives. That's in our history. That's documented history that they didn't know much about at the time, but Dr. Salisbury knew what they needed. And when you start looking back before all the lies, back before all the indoctrinating of our doctors that are trying to do the right thing, you start realizing, okay, how did this happen? And then what else have we been lied to about? And it, you start getting, you definitely feel crazy, but you feel a lot better that, hey, wait, I wasn't crazy. I was lied to. Everything's supposed to be easy. It is. It's great. It's easy. Um, and then I also started wondering, because I come from a very Christian family, Christian background. I love the Bible. I love Jesus. And so I started getting curious about that, and like, what would Jesus say about the carnivore diet, or what did they eat in the Bible days? And I haven't come to a conclusion yet, but I have a hypothesis on why the carnivore diet is so healthy for us in this time. Because there's a lot of evidence that Jesus was vegetarian, that he didn't eat any meat, maybe not even fish. Who knows? There's really no evidence one way or another, but I wouldn't stop searching. So I came to a hypothesis as to why this is working so well for us now. And I believe it's because the fruits, obviously, the fruits and vegetables we have now are not anything near what Jesus had then. The bread he ate doesn't exist. Everything that Jesus ate, from what I have read and understood, doesn't even exist. So we don't have the option to even eat the way it was back then. So in a way, even if we were to be vegetarian now and eat exactly the way Jesus did, not only are we not eating what he ate, we're also eating all the poisons that were never there. All the poisons that are in our food that we can't escape it. if you're going to be a vegetarian or a vegan, you can't escape poison unless you grow it in your backyard. And even then, what poisons are in the soil, it's just, you can't escape it, which is incredibly unfortunate for all of us now. And so I feel like we have this gift of cows that are these magical animals to me now. They're just so magical to give us so much nutrition and health. Um, I believe it's a gift to us that maybe, of course, Jesus knew we were going to need that. We were going to need this information, and that it was taken away from us at the time that we needed it. Um, that's just my thoughts. That's my hypothesis. I could be totally wrong, but I, for the environment that we're in now, it's the only diet for me that makes sense. It's not poisoned. It's this magical beast that gives us this miracle of life and health. And we don't have the option to be the life eaters that Jesus gave his people at the time.
Mm.
So I've come to peace with that, but I'm still researching. I'm still looking into it. I'm still curious about it. I love knowing what other people eat and what their feelings are about why they're eating, especially as a Christian. But that started way back when I did my first 7-day fast. I was like, well, that's obvious. Why don't we fast as Christians? It says it a million times in the Bible. And what's the miracle of fasting? Well, it is a miracle. Our bodies are miracles, and our bodies give us literally everything we need. And here recently, not that I'm crazy enough to ever do this, because I'm not. There's a movement of breatharians. Have you heard of breatharians?
Oh, yeah, yeah, I've heard of that, yeah.
I don't know. I get it. It's the same as it is fasting. Basically, it's people that can live months or even years from just breathing exercises, no water, no food. And that's not so crazy to me anymore to think about, because I know how miraculous fasting is. But again, are we in the environment? Is our world in the environment now to where we can do that? And I don't know how I could do that. There's no forest around me to really be able to breathe in whatever miracle the earth has given us. So
Yeah,
I still fall back to carnivore being the healthiest way for us to eat, especially in this day and age. Whether it was forever or not, today, I can't rationalize any other way to be or any other way to eat. This
right.
just makes sense to me
Yeah.
because we're all in this weird time.
Just when you were talking about, Christianity and, the way fruits and veggies have changed over time, I'm just thinking to myself, good a good slogan for a T-shirt might be, "Monsanto isn't in the Bible." It's like,
Yes. No,
right,
it wasn't.
right. Um, so, like, we on your journey, when you got started with carnivore, how did you what was the kind of the light bulb moment that you realized, "Okay, this is definitely the way I should be eating?"
Uh, I would say there was one day where I just forgot to eat. I wasn't fasting or anything, and I felt wonderful, and I wanted to go do more and more. And uh, yeah, it was just one day I was like, hey, I just forgot to eat, didn't even think about eating, and I was getting things done. And I was like, this is it. I think for a lot of women my age, another big key moment is the first 2 days of eating carnivore, and your stomach is half the size. It's for the first time in who knows how long, because whenever you're going through, I mean, I'm 45 now. I turned 45 last month, and things change so drastically. it's like, where'd my body go? It's gone. Everything's completely different. And then I get on carnivore and I'm like, whoa, it's coming back. It's just like that. It's coming back for the first time since, skipping a meal made you 20 pounds lighter than back in when we were young. And I'm like, this is it. This is it. And as soon as I stopped eating vegetables, and I love vegetables. I wish I could have a big old pretty salad. I love them. It's just I don't want to take the time to eat them. I now know what's in them, so why bother? And I'm perfectly happy eating what I'm eating. I never really want to go. I haven't eaten a vegetable in 3 years, and I don't want to. But I used to love salads. I had no problem with them. But I think that the fact that my stomach went about half the size, I felt like overnight was a big one. And then when I literally just forgot to eat one day because I was probably had 10 eggs the day before with butter and bacon, my body was happy. And that would be my wake up moment. I was like, I'm never doing anything else. This is it. This is it for me.
Right, and so that's about 3 years ago now. You've been 3 years
Yeah.
carnivore, right,
Yes. Yeah.
and so there's no going back for you?
There's definitely no going back for me. Um, on holidays, at Christmas, and when we go on vacation, I don't stress out too much about it. I eat practically the same. When we go to other countries, I get worried about the butter. So when we travel around the world, I'm like, I can't read what's on this butter. And so that worries me. And so I don't stress out about it. I try to just eat meat, eat the fat off the meat instead of adding butter as much as I can. If there's bacon, which isn't all over the world, I'll always eat the bacon. But I don't stress out about it when I go places. And I still have wine on the weekends. I'm not going to stop drinking wine on the weekends. It's not every weekend, but I feel like, and because I have my wine on the weekends, I do still stress out a little bit about what my insulin levels are because I've never had my numbers checked except for the calcium score, and everything was normal. So I am gonna get an fasting insulin test done this summer and check all those numbers there because I have to be honest with myself if I'm going to be having wine on the weekends. You still need to know. You definitely need to know your numbers, whether you're perfect on your diet or not. But I have to be honest with myself and know all my numbers so that I can make decisions from there. But yeah, there's
Yeah.
definitely no go.
So, what does a regular day look like for you menu-wise?
My favorite thing to eat besides a ribeye, I'm obsessed with ribeyes, is just ground beef. I love ground beef smothered in butter, and sometimes I just want bacon and eggs. So I don't eat all day. I sometimes will, if I'm really hungry in the middle of the day, I might go get a hot dog. That's it, but or boiled eggs. Um, but for dinner, it's almost always ground beef. Now I'm adding liver to my ground beef. I'm trying to get more organ meats. We got half a cow in November, so we got all of the organs and all the suet with the cow. But bone broth is one of my favorite things now. I just feel like every time I drink a warm cup of bone broth, my whole body relaxes instantly. And I didn't even know I wasn't relaxed. It just feels so good. But I'll have bone broth if it's in the refrigerator. It's gone. I have it whenever I want. But my no day's the same either. Sometimes I'll just have cheese and bacon on a fun day. But
Wow. Like, just cheese and bacon is good for you for the whole day.
yeah,
Wow.
a lot of bacon, a lot.
And that's
But
real fatty.
yes, yes, it's good fatty bacon. But I always put butter in my coffee. I every morning I put butter in my coffee. That really helps. And That's it. I love uh, carbonated water. I love carbonated water all the time, all day. It feels good. That's really all I have.
Yeah. Have you noticed um, since you don't typically eat sweet things anymore, have you noticed over time that having that carbonated water, it just like it has more of a sweet taste than it ever would have in the past when you're on a regular diet?
Oh, definitely. It's dessert, especially those flavored ones. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of it's interesting how you get more sensitive to that sweetness just by taking it out of your diet, right?
Yes, and butter is sweet. There was something else that was sweet that shouldn't have been. I forget what it was. um, there was something else. Maybe it was cream cheese. I put cream cheese in my ice cream that I make, and it's sweet. It's never been sweet before. So I love that. That's exciting. But butter is sweet. Butter is sweet to me.
Mm. Oh, wow.
And my daughter, she'll I guess carnivore crack is a big TikTok carnivore thing to do, and uh it's butter with bacon, and you put it in the freezer, or I don't know how she did it. You know what I'm talking about? And
Yeah,
she's
I think
like,
I saw a video on this a while back.
yeah, so she made that. She's 22. She made that and she's like, "It doesn't taste sweet at all." And I'm like, "Well, you're still eating carbs. Of course it's not going to taste sweet." And she's like, "Oh, I guess you're right." I said, "I'm sure it would for me. I didn't get to try it, but
So it wasn't
yeah."
sweet, but it was good enough that she ate
Oh,
most
she
of it.
definitely ate it. Yeah, she knows that the carnivore diet is the right way for her to eat too, and so she's 22, so she does whatever she wants, but she is not afraid of fat. I've definitely gotten her convinced that that's the way she needs to eat.
Right. So, if you were giving someone advice on starting carnivore, based on the experience you've had, what would you tell them to do to maximize their chances of success?
I actually just recently talked to an old friend about it. It came up in conversation. She's having a lot of health issues, and she had mentioned that she went to a restaurant and all she really wanted was a steak. And I started talking to her about the carnivore diet, and she's like, "Well, how do you do that? How do you do that?" And I said, "Well, first, beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, just like Dr. Barry says. Stick to as much beef, butter, bacon, and eggs as you want. Cheese should be a condiment, it's not a meal. And any kind of dairy should really just be a condiment. And if you're still having problems, take that out. But if you want to be perfectly safe, just do beef, butter, bacon, and eggs as much as you want, and you'll stop getting hungry rather quickly." So, like I said, the coworker that just started about a month ago, he's losing weight fast, and he says it's the easiest thing he's ever done. Um, Eats all day. Sometimes he forgets to eat, and he'll about 10, he's a big guy and he's young, about 10:30, 11 o'clock, he realizes he hasn't eaten, and he'll have some bacon, and then he'll get the goosebumps and he feels better. So you get hungry, have what's on that list, just eat what's on that list. um, One thing that I did struggle with was cramping in my feet, and even though I did put a lot of salt on my meat, and I felt like I drank enough water for sure, I kept getting cramps, and it was random. There was no rhyme or reason for it. It was just in my feet. And recently, I started a magnesium supplement in the evening, and I haven't had any problems. So I just came across that. No cramps. So that was about a month ago. I started doing that. No problems.
Oh,
So I would
nice.
suggest, yeah, I would suggest to somebody just stick with the beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. Don't worry about how much you're eating. Bone broth is heaven. It is just, I put salt in it because I don't like it without salt. I just put as much of my Redmond's real salt in it as I want, and it just makes me feel perfect. But And do some research. Research carnivore foods. Have fun. If you like to cook, there's a lot of things you can bake. I've got a couple of carnivore cookbooks that if I'm getting bored and I want to bake something, I just go try something out. I made the carnivore cinnamon rolls one time.
How were they?
They were good. I loved them, and my boyfriend actually liked them. You just take some pork rinds, you make the dough, and put the cream cheese over the top of it. Some burnt butter in the middle of it. It was really good. It was definitely a treat, and I think that's another thing that was sweet to me that I thought this is weird. This is really sweet to me, but
It's
you
so
can have a lot of
strange.
fun.
Yeah. So strange how your tastes change so quickly just by excluding those things, you know?
Yeah,
Uh,
our bodies are miracles.
yeah, really. It's,
Yeah,
actually, you know, and speaking of that miracle, it's something that we don't think about enough, you know,
yeah,
because we see our body healing on the outside, but you know, as a general population, we think that that's not gonna happen on the inside. We need drugs to do that. We need
yeah.
operations to do that and whatever, and, you know, actually, if you get out of the way and you just give your body the nutrition it needs, it can heal on the inside too.
It sure does. Yeah. And we're so blessed to have all the information out there for us. And sure, it might, YouTube might be trying to hide it. Who knows? But it's still there. And like I said, my daughter found out on TikTok about carnivore crack. There's so many resources out there. Have fun with it just like you would any other diet and see what works for you. And if you, especially for women, if you're still not losing the weight that you want, cut out the dairy. And it's not that hard. Eat more fat. Eat more fat. Eat more fat. I tell women all the time that are curious about what I'm doing, or a lot of my friends that do know what I'm doing. I'm just eat more fat. Just find some fat and eat it. Just eat the fat off of your husband's steak or whatever. People give me their fat off their steak. We have family over. They cut off their fat and give it to me because they don't. I don't even have to ask. They know I want it because and I'll give them a piece of my meat part because that's what I feel like 80% of what I meat is what I eat is probably fat. So, oh, sorry, there's an alarm. So yeah, I would highly suggest women focus on fat and try that and listen to yourself. Don't listen to anybody else. Listen to your body. Listen to yourself.
Mm,
Because, like Dr. Barry said, uh, carnivore is not for everybody. Everybody. Maybe you just need to go keto and you're just fine. But um, I think for most of us, if you want the full benefits and the miracle that our bodies can produce for us, we have to go full carnivore. And I think that you should do the 90-day challenge and just do full carnivore. And after that, make some decisions. But I think everyone should experience it or at least have the information that it's out there for you.
mm. Yeah, very nice. Naomi, so if people want to reach out to you, do you have any way of getting in contact?
Yes, I have an Instagram. It's Fatty Dolly, FATTYDOLLY, Fatty Dolly. That's my Instagram. And I think I have one YouTube video on Fatty Dolly, and it's me bacon wrapping liver. And I think that's it. But I'm going to try to do more videos this summer. But other than that, that's where I am.
Awesome. So I'll link to that below. Thank
Thanks.
you so much for coming back on and letting us know how things are going, and
Of
congratulations on
course.
your CAC score.
Yes. So exciting. Thank you, Dave.